Welcome, and thanks for joining this presentation on what you can expect if you are moving to California and attached to the Canadian NORAD Space Detachment. Please feel free to pause the presentation at any time if you would like to take a screenshot or write down pertinent information. Also, please note that this presentation will always be available on the Military Family Services United States YouTube page, as well as our CAF Connection website. I truly hope that you are excited about the opportunity for this posting. There are so many things to see, experience, and enjoy here in California. Please keep an eye out for any of the I wish I knew points. These points have been gathered by fellow Canadians as they have settled into life in California, and we are sharing them with you in hopes of easing your transition and avoiding surprises while setting realistic expectations for all newcomers. So let's get started. Here is the beautiful state of California. As you can see, California is a state on the west coast of the United States. The total area of California is approximately 163,000 square miles, and it is the most populous state and third largest by area. When we talk about population, one of the things that Canadians are always amazed by is the fact that California has more people than the entire country of Canada. California has a population of 39.51 million, while Canada, in its entirety, has a population of 37.74 million people. That's quite the comparison. It is the 34th most populous area in the world. The Greater Los Angeles area and San Francisco area are the nation's second and fifth most populous urban regions, respectively. Wow, those are some busy cities, but beautiful to visit. If you are coming to Vandenberg Air Force Base, it should be noted that Vandenberg is the West Coast home to SpaceX, founded by Elon Musk. California is also home to the avocado capital of the world. Every year, Fallbrook, California holds an avocado festival to celebrate. Sounds delicious. Additionally, California has a number of beautiful national parks, one of which is Sequoia National Park. At the Sequoia National Park, there lives the world's largest tree named the General Sherman. General Sherman is nearly 275 feet tall and has a circumference of 102 feet. That's definitely a very large tree. With so much to see and do here in California, we truly hope that you enjoy all of the adventures that come your way. When talking about the state of California, it's really important to note the geography. California has four main geographic regions: the desert, mountains, the coast, and the Central Valley. The Central Valley is where CAF families live near Vandenberg Air Force Base. Beale Air Force Base, however, is close to the capital, Sacramento, California, and is at the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas. California geography and weather, as we'll talk about later, have something for everyone. As you travel through this great state, from the northern end to the southern end, you will encounter such a variety of experiences just in geography alone that it will be worth taking all of the photos and writing down all of these experiences in your travel journal. It is to be noted, however, that wherever you live, in terms of geography, can play a great role in what experience you have weather-wise, which we'll talk about in upcoming slides. First, let's talk about life in each of the areas where CAF families are living, either close to Vandenberg or close to Beale Air Force Base. First up is Vandenberg. Many of our Canadian families who are posted to Vandenberg live in one of the following areas: Santa Maria, which will include Orchid, Vandenberg Village, or Lompoc. The reason why people choose to live in these areas are simply often about their family makeup. Will they need to look for a school district? And what is available to housing-wise? And what is available for what their family needs? When we talk about the Santa Maria Orchid area, most families who have children of school age tend to reside in this area simply based on the school opportunities. Many of the schools in the districts in Orchid specifically rate high and are well recommended by Canadian families. This is one of those I wish I knew points. When it comes to Vandenberg Base itself, the base has 2,600 military personnel and 3,800 family members attached. There are also 1,500 DoD civilians and almost 3,000 contractors and private businesses that work attached to or out of Vandenberg Air Force Base. The city of Santa Maria, which would include Orcutt, has over 100,000 people, and the city of Lompoc, which will include Vandenberg Village, has about 44,000 people. All of these cities reside in the larger Santa Barbara County, which comes in with a population of 447,000 people plus. So it's not a small place to live. However, you will get a small town feel here in the Santa Maria, Orcutt, and Lompoc areas, as much of the population works in agriculture, and these towns are specifically called small towns in the local area. So you get to know folks in the communities, and many of the locals have lived here for the duration of their lives. When Canadians are coming in, it's important to note that the languages spoken here are primarily English and Spanish. A number of folks coming from Canada are often looking for information on French schooling or opportunities to use their French language skills, and that is a challenge no matter where you are living here in California, and that's no different for Vandenberg and Santa Maria area. What I can say is that there are some highlights of the area that are important to think about. There are housing availability challenges at many times when you're moving to this area. Therefore, it can be often disheartening or stressful during house hunting trips, whether they be virtual or in person. If you are looking at a specific school district, it will be important to touch base with your local MFSC and the local resources to ensure that you can be attached to the schools that you're looking for. Vandenberg Air Force Base is quite vast and has a lot of resources for everyone. The mission here at Vandenberg is primarily about space launch and missile testing. So many of our Canadians will work at the 18th Space, the CSPOC, and of course at our Canadian detachment. The Canadian detachment here includes an MFS US office for your coordinator, as well as an office for all of the administrative staff and the chain of command. Most families coming on base with their access card will want to look at the Airman and Family Readiness Center for opportunities, as well as potentially attend events in person or virtually with the Pacific Coast Club. There are tons of youth programs, including a youth center, pools and recreation facilities. There are beaches on base that families can access, as well as a base exchange, tickets and travel opportunities, the library, a commissary, and families and members can access treatment for medical needs at the medical treatment facility as well. It is important to note that all of the activities on base would require your common access card and identification. As for folks moving to Beale, California, there are some similarities and some differences. The main similarities are that the variables for housing choice are exactly the same. Where people live is traditionally looked at in terms of what their family makeup and needs are, what school districts they're looking to be in based on their rank and the needs of their children, what's available for housing, as that can be a challenge in the area as well, and access to other options that they're looking for. Currently, we have Canadians living in the Rockland and Roseville areas of Placer County. And additionally, we have had Canadians live in Lincoln, which is also in Placer County. Placer County has a population of 361,600 people, and the median age for that area is 42 years old. We also have Canadians who have lived in other county called Sutter County, and have had families live in Marysville and Olivehurst. The median age for residents there is 36 years old, and that county has a population of 95,000 people, so a little bit smaller. When moving to Beale, there are tons of opportunities as well on the Air Force Base. There you will be able to access with your access card any programs and services available at the Airman and Family Readiness Center, Base Exchange, the Community Center, and the Youth Center. There are tickets and travel opportunities there as well. Fam camp bookings, which is camping, and also a base movie theater called Independent Cinema. What I would say about life at Beale is that there are only 2 Canadian military members stationed there at any given time. So building community within the American community is very important. The specialty in terms of where the Canadians would be working with at Beale would be through the radar. So now that you've heard about life at both Beale and Vandenberg Air Force bases, you can see here that there are some national givens in terms of challenges that people have seen out CAN in the United States. So as you can see here, a number of challenges that have arisen include childcare, education, employment, finances, healthcare navigation, and taxes. While these are concerns nationally, there will be some nuances for each individual family, and how these concerns affect you and yours will depend on the area in which you're living and the experience at the time. 2 things that I feel like are important to note are healthcare navigation, as both Beale and Vandenberg have opportunities for family members to receive service at the military treatment facility. You can also look for care and will be referred to care on the economy for certain services on the healthcare side. So it'll be really important to learn and know the insurance billing process. In regards to employment for both spouses and teens, EADs, or employment authorization documents, are required. This process can't really be started until you are already in the United States and have crossed the border, and there is sometimes a lengthy turnaround. So if you have family members who are traveling with you to post here out CAN to California, please note that this process can take a little bit of time. The main concern that we hear from families posted to California is finding a house and a place to live that is near the school that they're looking to be attached to based on the rank of the school and the reputation, as well as recommendations from previous Canadians who have lived in the area. MFS US, the chain of command, and the American programs and services available on the base can help you navigate this tricky time. That is to say, though, that all Canadians in the past few years who have lived here in California have been very pleased with the opportunities that their children have had in terms of education and the schools that they've been able to attend. So while they seem like challenges and difficulties initially, we have seen families thrive and do very well in the education that they have received for their family members. When we're talking about differences from Canada in terms of living in the state of California, in the areas we've discussed, the main things we hear mostly from Canadians is that there are some language differences, definitely. Spanish and English are primarily spoken in all of the state of California, and in both Beale and Vandenberg, there are little to no in-person French school options. So that can be a challenge that Canadians wish they knew before they came out CAN. In reference to school as well, the school year here looks a little bit different. Therefore, when Canadians are planning their travel to new post or leaving post to go back to Canada, this is something that they often take into consideration. Here in the state of California, in both areas, the school year starts early to mid-August and finishes in early June. The breaks and vacation time throughout the year are varied compared to Canada. Often, many schools in California, in the counties we've listed for living in Vandenberg and Beale, will have week-long breaks at the American Thanksgiving time, and winter breaks tend to be longer, as well as the traditional March break or spring break tend to be pushed into April. Another difference from Canada, as we have heard from other Canadians, is that on the highways there is the legalized lane splitting for motorcycles. This means that motorcycles can be on the freeway at any time and travel through the middle of the lanes to get ahead in traffic. This is for safety and ease of the motorcycle drivers. It can be disconcerting the first time it happens if you are on the freeway here in California and take you off guard. So it's important to learn and read more about lane splitting for motorcycles in the state of California. Another driving habit that can be very different from Canada, especially if you're near to one of the larger city centers that we mentioned, like Los Angeles or San Francisco, is that there are huge multi-lane freeways and a lot of heavy traffic. This can be hard to navigate coming in and out of those major centers, so it's important to understand and have a sense of where you're headed and using your GPS and your good driving habits to navigate these populated freeways and areas. It wouldn't be a presentation about the state of California if we didn't talk about the climate and weather. Coming from Canada, one of the things that Canadians hear most is how excited they must be to be moving to a warmer climate. The state of California is very temperate on the central coast when you're near Vandenberg, and there are some dry, hot summers in Beale. When you see these images, you can see images here on the top from the state, from Sacramento, my apologies, and that will show you that in Beale and area, the temperatures in the summer can get up to an average of 94.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which is quite hot. And the lows are hitting about 41.5 degrees Fahrenheit in the lows across the coldest parts of the year. Also, in both situations, you can see either in Santa Maria and Sacramento that the temperature fluctuations, while they can get warm, are pretty consistent throughout the year. So temperate climate means in those areas, you won't be finding anything too dramatic in terms of the cold or snow. However, you will find it very dry and at times quite hot. When it comes to the weather, people often say be prepared in the mornings and the evenings to have a jacket with you, dress in layers, and really know what you have in the car to keep you warm when the sun is hidden and to cool down when the sun is hot. In California, you are just a drive away to snow or surf. So while in these areas, you can see that the temperatures don't usually get cold enough for snow or sleet or hail, you can get in the car and head up to other areas in some of that varying geography, like the mountains for skiing at Mammoth or Lake Tahoe, or you can head south to beautiful San Diego and hit the pool in the middle of February. So the climate is really something to enjoy. And in Vandenberg area specifically, they say about 360 days of the year, about 300 of the 365 days of the year, my apologies, it's about 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius and sunny. That is truly something to enjoy while you're on OutCan here in California. While the weather is truly spectacular, some of the downfalls of having such a dry, warm climate can include natural disasters. Wildfires in particular have been very impactful over the past few years in the state of California. In 2020 alone, the wildfire numbers were through the roof and really impacted the air quality of individuals living in both the Beale Air Force Base area and the Vandenberg area. There are lots of information pieces out there about how to prepare for wildfire and what that looks like in the areas in which you'll be living. And it'll be important to learn about those emergency procedures as soon as you're at post so that you're prepared. This is not meant to scare, but prepare. Most people moving to California would like to have been more aware of the natural disasters and common occurrences weather-wise that impact families, CAF families while on OCAN. Wildfires have not been something that have directly impacted our Canadian families out can in the past few years. However, they have impacted the air quality and ability to travel in the areas in which Canadians have been living. So that's something to take note of. Additionally, earthquakes are felt, fairly frequently, however, have not the same impact that one might anticipate, and are usually just a tremble and a little rattle in the house or at the school. And schools will implement earthquake drills for students, and there are policies and procedures that we can ensure people have once they're at post. With wildfire often comes landslides and mudslides because the change in weather can go quickly from dry and hot to rain, and when the rain comes, it tends to be downpour. If the earth is already in a state of disarray from wildfire, landslides can be more impactful and mudslides can be more impactful. This was the case in 2018 in other counties in the southern part of California, and was truly impactful on the main freeways for travel to and from LA. So that would have impacted families here in the Santa Barbara County. As well, tsunamis and flooding warnings can happen as California is on the coast. So therefore, those are often things that are discussed, and policies and procedures are in place in the event that there are flooding and tsunami warnings. All of this is important information to note and shared on our website so that people are prepared. It's all about preparation and understanding and education, as opposed to instilling fear, and knowing is half the battle when it comes to being prepared for these types of situations. Any questions you may have on what natural disasters or preparedness plans, you can certainly direct to your Military Family Services coordinator or your chain of command for more information. So while you're here in the great state of California, how can Military Family Services United States help you? Basically, we try to offer consistent baseline services for families while living in the United States. We want to welcome, orient, and support you in your transition from one community and one country to another. We provide opportunities for you to establish support networks through community building. We want to ensure that you are aware of and supported through the challenges you may encounter during periods of CAF operational related absences, so deployments or courses, TDs, that kind of thing. And we want to provide you information, referral, and support through military transitions, especially if those are pieces that are needed or related to illness, injury, and death in crisis situations. Essentially, MFS US here is to help you navigate life in your new community and to ensure that you can find resilience and support in the communities in which you live. For members and families who are attached to the Canadian NORAD Space Detachment and are living at Vandenberg or Beale, your MFSC can be reached at the following information. It is important to note that at any time you can access our CAF Connection website at cafconnection.ca/United States. And as you can see here on the slide, you can type in that exact link specifically for information on California and Vandenberg and Beale Air Force bases. We hope that this has been very helpful, and should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time, rewatch this video, or check out our website. Thank you, and enjoy your life in California.